We should understand the times and the season to which we're living in. The season and the time you're living in is very different. Things that are going on are not the same like they were before. People are acting and doing things that make you question a lot of things. And you're living in a time where if you don't understand the season, you're in a lot of trouble. For example, if let's say you wanted to till a land and you did not prepare yourself, you don't put the seeds on the ground, and then the rain comes, your quality of crops and the purpose of your intention kind of loses its own understanding or grip, because at the end of the day you should have planned before rain was coming. Now we are in the digital era and this is never leaving. We can fight from here to Timbuktu and say, oh, AI, this, AI. The fact that even all these conversations we are having virtually is just going to a particular AI machine. Then by the time the big companies decide on the trade-off, who trades who sells what, all that nonsense, fact is still going to one machine or several machines that will merge to a machine at the end of the day. Facts, scary, reality. That's where we are. But where it gets interesting is we are in a time whereby a lot is happening so fast. There was a time when you'd hear someone say, so and so left us. You'd only be left with the information you are given. There wasn't much verification about it. You only had the information that you were given. And so that became the only, truth that you had. Now, there are so many ways information is relayed: photographic, videographic. So either it's a camera, a phone camera, a laptop, a tablet, a tablet, it could be a drone, it could be CCTV, it could be a dash cam. The list is endless with all the technology coming. And so you end up finding that someone you knew or a relative or a child or a spouse or whatever it may be has left us, left this world. And you're thinking, and someone sends you a message, you're busy doing something, you're in your own world, you're happy, you're joyful, maybe even spoke to this person like an 2 minutes away. Anyway, you're doing your thing and then someone sends you a link or just sends you a video. You're like, yeah, whatever. You pick the video and you're like, huh? You sit down, you analyze the video, it's graphic, and you're thinking, what am I watching? And then you look through it again carefully and realize, wait a minute. I know this person, wait a minute. This is actually my person. And so you're like, it can't be. So you make a few calls and realize they're actually gone. Now you're left thinking, okay, then who sent this and why did they say and what's the intention? It's one thing to let me know and I process it, but right now you can't. And because of the way people are behaving, their hearts are now becoming cold. And now once you see that, your mind is never the same. Right now, you have to be very careful and cautious, whether due to algorithms, that you might stumble on a content that was never something you had subscribed to, but it flashes before your eyes and you're thinking, what's going on? And it's very graphic and you're thinking, how did this even end up, on my feed? Yet there's nothing related. And that's how crazy life has become. And you have to be very careful and cautious of where we are, because you might not notice it, but you become numb and numb and numb by the day. With social media, with internet generally, information is coming at high speed. And the beauty about the internet is we can relay information and sort issues in convenience, right? But now the flip side of it is on the negative side, whereby in the same way you can get things done, the same things can get you done. Information you didn't know. People have become very cold. It's very sad right now. We are seeing a lot of gender wars. If a lady loses her life, the first comment is, oh, she sold her body. The second comment will be things like, oh, women do this or say that. There's no remorse. There's no hold up. That's a man. That's hold up. Like you shouldn't say that. If it's a guy, they're like, oh yeah, they deserve it. Or in fact, and you see things like, oh yeah, celebrating to the queens. Someone did it. I could have done. Hi, you thinking no? If it's a child or these children of nowadays, hey, you move to an animal or this, hey. So you're thinking, when does it ever end? And the comment section is so brutal. I mean, if you want your day spoiled, the comment section will literally destroy you. And it has no mercy. And sometimes you are kind of thinking, let me check up this individual who is so cold. And you realize when you go to the when you go to their bio, I love God. Jesus is my savior. I'm like, huh? But what you wrote and what I'm seeing, the math is definitely not mathing. And that's where people are. Because there's this lie that many people have that I can get away with anything and I don't need to be accountable to it. But that's the lie. The truth is, everything you write is recorded. If someone chooses to screenshot, you cooked. And there are others who, if they want to go down that rabbit hole of investigation, they will get up to your IP address. They'll get up to where your doorstep. If they want to. It's not going to be hard for them to figure it. If a government wants, it's not really that hard. One, if a social media is running a particular country, there are rules and regulations that country has given them, and there are types of content that they have been approved of or disapproved of. If that government or that intelligence of that country wants to catch you, it's not really that hard. It's just a matter of either giving, either by court requesting a particular data of a particular, or like intelligence committee do, they just tell them either give it to us or we put that other plug on you. And social media, these are platforms and they need the money and they need the people. So what's one person going to do to over a million? Just one or two or 10. Fine, take them. And information goes and they're able to track, figure out, like the way when you go to any of these platforms, when you go to the analytics side, you're able to know who's vibing with their content and the content ranges. So the same logic will apply if they want to track you down. It's not like that hard if they want to. And they'll get you literally where you're sitting, drinking, happy hour, whatever you're doing, and they'll just pick you and do to you what they wish to do to you. And that's why you should be very careful and cautious, not to presume that you're safe just because you can utter, just because you can express yourself. Wisdom and discernment is very profitable. Yes, whatever you say may be able to woo a bigger population, and people say, I stand with you, we're fighting for this. But the truth of the matter is they're doing it from the comfort of wherever they may be. But when you get caught, you cooked. You are on your own. And some people start saying, but I have 1 million followers. Yeah, true. You may have even 2 million followers. But among those 2 million followers, how many are bots? How many are part of the intelligence community? How many are people with evil intention? How many people are people with good intention? If you merge all those numbers, they'll cater to your 1 million or 2 million. Doesn't mean, and that's why it's sad when you see people always posting their families, their children, their spouses. You might be playing games, and even the dumbest part is where people even post their actual home, like the address. Like if you look on their background, you can see the photo of maybe their grandfather, and I'm thinking, do you know how much information you're giving out there? Because the robbers of today, I don't know the robbers of before. Robbers of today, they don't really need to bother. One will hack, the other will identify their home, the other will arrive, they'll do whatever they do, and they go. We should be very careful. Understand the season that you are in, and caution is advised. Don't assume that you are safe just because you are in the comfort of where you are. Everything has its own repercussion. Caution is advised. Wisdom and discernment. Because the times are evil and the hearts of many people are wicked and cold to the heart. People are not living the life they show you. They live in the life that they allude to. They live in their fantasy. They sell you their fantasy, but that's not their reality. Be very careful, be very discerning. Because they will sell you a relationship and you see two couples and say, wow, well, when I grow up, one day I want to be like that couple. Well, you don't seem to understand they're on a contractual relationship, meaning it's not like a prenup per se, because it's not like a marriage, but there's a contract and say, hey, I need you to be in my clips for X amount of time, have your cash or your wiring, and do everything that's couple related. Kiss me there, hug me there, do everything that shows we're together. And there you're thinking, wow, these people are a couple. But in real life, you've never seen them together. Or even if you see them together, it's war. When it comes to the camera, they have to sell the fantasy. They need the views. They need the reaction. They need the repost. They need the subscription. They need the traffic so that they can be able to attract sponsors and everything. But in reality, it's not what it is. Some of these houses, they show you one-of-a-kind houses. You're like, wow, maybe I'm the one who's not working hard. They can rent it out. They could have a friend who maybe is out of the country and they agree. Or maybe they didn't even agree. And someone, does their videos and everything, takes photos around the big cars, machines and everything. And they're saying, wow, I think I'm the one who doesn't work hard. No, you do work hard. The person you are watching, no, they're just trying to work smart, but they're deceiving themselves and they're deceiving you. And so all of you are deceivers in one platform. You move to the fakeness, where there's the filters. It's quite interesting when you see this. The men would complain about the women. You want to be shirtless and all gymmed up. And then you complain about the lady who's putting fake eyelash. And I'm thinking, both of you need to sit down and just knock on the brains, because the truth of the matter is there is a problem on both sides of the camp. We need to be reality with our expectations, and do we live up to the expectations that we anticipate from the other end? So you want someone to be in a particular way. What are you doing about it? And then we have this other sad part of life where someone wants to live off your hard work because they want to be lazy and just be able to get the paycheck. And you are thinking, how should that make sense? Hence, we are seeing some of these marriages. We are seeing marriages falling apart and thinking, but they are together. No. The one partner may have been really into the relationship. The other partner just saw a paycheck. Someone will say, fine, if I do the math of this person, they're earning X amount of money. By this X amount of time, I should be able to get X amount of million. And you're thinking everything's okay, and 20 years into their marriage, boom, you've been left flat foot. Unless you're smart enough to have figured it out, put and changed your property and everything and move it to another person, that's the only way you play checkmate. And that may not be easy to catch up with. But again, here we are in the world. So it's very important to be keen and careful of how we live, who we live, and who's around us. Because there's a lot of fakeness and there's a lot of lies and there's so much deception. That the truth has become a needle in the haystack. And sometimes you're not even keen enough, you can't get caught up in the whole lies and also, buy in the nonsense. We need to be careful at all times. Now, if you look at the governments in the world, they really don't give a damn you live or you go. They don't care about you. In fact, the more you're gone, the higher the mortality, the more they're thinking, fine, the more the control they'll have. And the saddest part is, as the pressure comes from above, now from the governments, as it boils down to the people, it now affects it on a spread. And it's when it affects people, when it's broadened now, people start doing scary stuff to survive. People are selling out their spouses. Spouses are both going out and saying, hey, I know you want to cheat. Let's do this. Let's not fight it. Let's go out there, both of us. Let's go enjoy ourselves. And you don't bring anyone in the house, open marriage kind of situation. And mind you, they have kids, and kids have no copy. Others are in the lavender type of marriage where both parents are into same gender, and the kids know these other people they see are uncle and auntie. They have no idea that this is actually partners to their parents, and it's happening. And the more we ignore doesn't make the issue run away. It's just as it is. And sometimes some people will ask, why do we need to expose like influencer celebrities? Because of the impact they have on, if you have kids, if your child sort of vibes that particular celebrity, sometimes you'll have to be forced to dig more about these people and know what is it about them, so that you can know how to relay the information to your child in a wise way, not in a fighty way, in a wise way, so that your child can understand, okay, so there's a lot of fakeness. Because yes, you see a celebrity driving a particular type of car. Not many of them, those are their cars. It's on rental. The information is out there for you to research. Spouses, they paid for them. Everything is on rent. Sometimes most of these big corporates rent out what they have to influencers and celebrities, or to those ones, so that they can buy in, because they know the more this person is seen with this particular type of product, people will buy into it. And so if them having this product on them is bringing more traffic, good for them. They have their business, life moves on. They don't care the effect of people. They just care about the numbers. Does it hit their margins well? They don't care when most of these big corporates, they don't really give a crap if they are using the minimum wage against going to countries whereby they can get away with tax laws, or they can get away with making sure they pay people the less than the bare minimum, and then now they import it from and that's what's happening. You'll go to a place, a particular country, where people are really trying to make ends meet, and they are working on products for very big companies, the who's who. But in that country, they're paid nothing. And the country to which now they're selling their products to, now these big corporates, they're selling it triple, 10 times the actual product. But the person who's doing it, not even getting anything worth. And then they're overworked. Others have been trafficked. Others are even falling down and even passing, and they're forgotten. But you see the illusion that the company sells you. They tell you that the products are scarce. Sometimes companies even burn down they destroy those products just to make it scarce. They have no losses. They'll just put it in their capex or in their opex. Like, this was our capex, and this was our opex, and these are our wastages, and it's gone. So we live in a time where we need to be very careful with who you listen to, where you go, what you say, to whom you say it to, when you say it to. You need to be vigilant, almost up to hyper vigilant, to be very careful, because the times we're living in are wicked. And it won't change. When you look at scripture, is like when Cain took the life of Abel, and when he was warned about his actions, he didn't care about what he did to his late brother. He was only bothered about himself. When Jacob saw the damages that Levi and Simeon did to Shechem and the whole community there, he wasn't really bothered about them. The only problem was insecurity for himself and what will happen to themselves. But he did not scold them and rebuke them for not only taking the lives of all those people, but even taking their wives and their children and enslaving them. Like, that's a whole different ballgame to what would have been the actual thing, the civil thing they would have done. And these are the only two brothers. So you can imagine if the other added up would have joined the club. You never know what would have happened. So that's where we are in the world, where it's more about me, less about what my actions would do to another person. But you don't have to be like the world, whereby hatred sells, love is suppressed. Be the one who knows to be kind, know your limits, and do good and go your way. Expecting nothing from nobody, anticipating nothing from nobody. Because the times are wicked, the hearts are wicked. People have made decisions. Misery loves company. We are seeing a trend whereby women will tell other women, you don't need a man, yada, yada, yada. Yet the house where she's doing her own recording, that house is being paid by a man, maybe her boyfriend, maybe her sugar daddy, maybe there's another gentleman who's just paying, exclusive of those who actually work hard and pay for themselves. But we have a bigger number that, despite them even having their own income, they need extra from another person, and they're the ones who will advise all of you, be single, don't do this, don't do this, you see. And other women say, yeah, I relate to it, but no, you might relate to it, but they're selling you something. So caution is advised with what we listen, what we watch, whom and how we interact, because everything we do has an accountability, has a consequence. It could be positive, it could be negative. We should be very careful with what we say, to whom you say, where we say to, because it may look innocent because no one is watching you, until there's a victim. Then you realize something is wrong. At the end of the day, do not assume that you know what's happening. In everything, ask, learn, question. Caution is advised in everything. Understand the seasons to which you are living in. Understand the temperaments of people around you. Be very careful with what you do. Be very careful how you conduct yourself. Be very careful with everything around you, because people will do anything and everything to survive. Governments will do anything and everything to survive. At the end of the day, is it worth losing your life? Because once you go, you'll just be another statistics put under a mortality rate in a graph, and they say, okay, so we have X amount. They won't say your name. They'll put you in a cluster of number. Is that your worth? I believe you're more than that. But the most important is be very careful and be very cautious. It is easy to say whatever we want to say and to speak our mind. That's good. That's positive. But be very careful to how you say it, how you deliver it, when you deliver it, because if you're not careful, just because you see you have numbers on your platform, does not mean that those people are real. There could be people who just wanted to use you as a good example. And when something happens to you, no one will ever know your story. And with the way intelligence communities are working right now, they can nab you from anywhere. And once you're gone, they will watch to see how many people will look for you, and then they realize there's none, or people are not that keen. Another new thing has come, so people forgot about you. Then you're gone, and a decade later, people realize so and so actually went like ABCD, and people are like, oh, then okay, let's move on, because right now life is tough. So if you're expecting someone to mourn over you or to cry over you, I'm sorry, it's not happening, because there's so much pressure going on, and people are moving to survive. And as they're moving to survive, your value diminishes by the moment. So may God guide us and help us in the times and the seasons we are living in. God be with you.